How many of you are in real estate, but that wasn't your first job? You left a job or a career to either go part-time into real estate, or maybe you retired and went full-time real estate. That's our topic for today, so stay tuned. Hey everybody, Mike Ferrante here, 21 Mike team. We're real estate agents serving Greater Cleveland, all of Northeast Ohio, all the way down to Central Ohio, which is particularly apropos today because our guest is from Central Ohio. You know him, you love him. It's Mike Pillow. Forget Zillow, call Pillow. What is up, Mike?
Hey, Mike, how's it going? Everything's going well down here in the South.
We joke that anything south of Akron Canton is the South. Yeah. So anyway, go to 21mike.com if you want to hit us up. If you have real estate needs all the way from Cleveland, Akron down to Columbus. We have a new listing coming up in Columbus. This will be fun. It's a four-suite brick building. So this is going to be a new experience for us. But all the way down to Mount Vernon and Apple Valley, where Mike Pillow resides. Central Ohio, just hit us up. And Mike, real quick here, for those people looking at Central Ohio, what's the best way for them to get a hold of you?
Well, the best way to get a hold of me is by phone or text at 740-504-6251, or you can shoot me an email at pillowdreamhomes@gmail.com.
Love it. Oh, and to be announced soon, 21mike.com emails. So that's cool. You can hit me up. Right now, I have one. The rest of the team will be getting theirs. Mine is Mike at 21mike.com. So getting back to the topic at hand, Mike, this is a great topic because I think that most realtors, okay, 51% or more, they're not full time. You know, they didn't start out, they didn't graduate from high school or graduate from college and say, I'm going to be a real estate agent. It just doesn't happen. It's a second career, it's a third career, it's a part-time career. Um, and it's sort of a weird transition to make if you've been in a career and suddenly you have all these challenges of being self-employed. So real quick, Mike, tell us about your history, military, your second career, and what that looks like. And then we're going to dig into how you, maybe your struggles to make the change, and then maybe some successes, things you would do differently, things that you learned. So first of all, tell us your background, Mike.
Okay, well, shortly after high school, I did join the military. I went into the Army. I served as a military intelligence analyst, and I also did some interrogation. And my biggest regret was getting out of the military. It was funny because, as a snotty-nosed 20-year-old kid, you know, because I was so much smarter then. Wow, I was really smart in my 20s. I didn't want somebody telling me what to do the rest of my life. So I left the Army and came back home to Mount Vernon, Ohio, and went to work for the post office. Not having somebody tell me what to do the rest of my life didn't really turn out the way I thought it was going to turn out. But all joking aside, the post office was a great career for me. I carried for about 3 years in Mount Vernon as a city carrier. I loved it, kept me in good shape, but I just wasn't challenged. Uh, I actually had a supervisor come out and ask me if she didn't realize I was left-handed. I told her I wasn't. I said, I just thought I'd try carrying left-handed, see if I can do it. So I got into supervision and I started managing uh, carriers and clerks as a supervisor, and then spent the last 30 years working as a postmaster. And I've been all over the place, mainly here in Central Ohio, north of Columbus. Um, so this past June, after 35 years of service, I finally retired. But 3 years prior to that, I got my real estate license. A week later, I joined Mike's team. And it's funny, during the time I was working as a postmaster, I thought I was working as a full-time realtor. And because I was putting in some hours, but I was far from full-time. I kind of had a wake-up call this summer. A lot more time has been dedicated to real estate in the last couple months than I ever dreamed of in the last 3 years.
Got it.
And I'm loving it.
Well, let's unpack a few things. Okay, so we got the history, military intelligence, interrogations, to a completely different career with the post office, all the way through to retirement, pension. So, Mike, you're in a spot where you actually have a leg up on many people who change from one job to another, in that you're not just totally without income. So I wonder, and I'm going to spring this question on you. I didn't prepare you for this one. I'm just kind of curious how you're going to answer it. Like, I wonder if during the time that you were transitioning from a career to real estate and doing it part-time for a while, if maybe that cushion, that safety net, didn't stall out your progress and change. Was it too comfy?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, there's so much truth to that. I mean, like you mentioned, I don't need real estate to eat. Uh, and I, I I did get kind of relaxed because I didn't have to be as aggressive because I didn't need to make my mortgage at the end of the month. Like a lot of many other agents have to. So and I didn't really have to budget out my commission checks. If I have a dry period, I have a safety net.
Hmm.
Um, I'm very fortunate, very blessed for that. But I also learned this summer that you're absolutely right. There's a little with that safety net comes some complacency,
Hmm.
and I had to restructure my schedule. I had a very structured schedule, with the military, obviously, and a very structured schedule with the post office. I was managing other people, so I had to be on top of my game to ensure they're on top of their game. With real estate, for the first month or so, I kind of exhaled after I retired. I was like, yeah, this is kind of nice not having to, let's face it, get up and get dressed. Um, and I was really slacking off. If you take anything away from this, when you make this transition, you have to hit the ground running, and I didn't, and it suffered. My business has suffered because I wasn't filling the top of my funnel. I exhausted all my leads and my listings, and I was like starting all over again, which you know it forced me to get creative, and I have gotten creative over the last couple months, and now it's also made me shift the way I look at my business. I was looking at more of I was looking at the end result. I was starting to get that commission breath, so to speak, because I wasn't doing much business. And I shifted back to the roots where I started. It was to get into this business to help people.
Help
And then
people. Yep.
once I got back into that mentality, it's funny. I'm having business just fall in my lap. I just had a referral come through the builder I've been working with here in Apple Valley. It's a customer they can't help with one of their homes, and he referred her to me to find her a home
Wow.
in Apple Valley.
That's a great story. All right, so let's do this. Let's finish up the structure portion, and then we're going to go to your mission. Okay.
Okay.
So backpedal to the structure for a second. Mike, we do countless trainings on time blocking, and it goes in one ear and out the other. If I'm listening to Mike and Mike talk about time blocking, I'm like, yeah, whatever. I get it. Time blocking is just putting stuff on your calendar. But for you, it was different because you had the structure thrust upon you for many years, and then you realized, wow, there really is value in that. So talk about like what clicked and what changed and how you have used time blocking and structure to actually approach real estate differently the last few months.
Well, again, the first month or so after I retired from the post office, I lost touch with my own personal accountability. I was shooting from the hip, um, and I was just kind of wandering around in la la land, and I wasn't getting anything done. I was so non-productive, which actually resulted in me kind of going into a little bit of a depression because I've been so productive all my life. I mean, even as a kid, going into sports, you work to be productive, and all of a sudden, I find myself just dropping, they're just laying a big egg. So I had to go back to my roots. I pulled from my previous position where I had a structure, a daily checklist, and I created something like that for myself with real estate. And the one thing that really got me focused and putting back in the schedule is I created a weekly webinar on Tuesday. So now I put that word out there. Now I've just committed to myself, my team, my world. I'm going to do a webinar every Tuesday at 10. If I don't feel like doing it, it doesn't matter. I've already committed to it. And that was the first step. And then I've noticed I've made other commitments along the way. The biggest thing that's helped me is I ordered a dry erase calendar that I put on my wall right beside my computer, just like I did at the post office. I'm putting in notes. Okay, I have a training class tomorrow. I have a dental appointment tomorrow. I have this going on, and I'm filling up my calendar. And when I first bought this calendar, it was just elite team meetings, role play meetings. Now I don't even write that stuff in there because I know it's because I need the room for business. You know, I have a listing appointment, I have a buyer's appointment, I have showing, and I'm starting to see my calendar fill up every week. So it's just forcing myself to bring back the structure that I already knew I had the tools to use.
Yeah.
Just being disciplined.
It's funny. One of our teammates, Raul, he's a recently retired carrier, male carrier, and he put in the chat, sounds familiar, so he had all this structure and now he's retired and he's got to create this structure for himself. So Mike, you and I are not out here saying, here's how you have to structure. We're just saying you have to find a method that works for you and create structure. Without it, you will meander aimlessly and be less successful. So pick what works for you and do it. That's really the lesson here, right?
Absolutely. It doesn't matter how you do it. Just have a structure. You know, it's like any building. You have to have a foundation.
Yeah.
And then after that first month or so, I let my foundation crumble a little bit. But now
Yeah.
I've rebuilt it and
Now we talk a lot about lead generation time. That's where we're out there trying to get business. And we were just at the Tom Ferry event, and what was his quote? In order for everybody to eat, somebody has to sell. And so that's
right.
us. I mean, we're in a business where lead generation is our primary activity. So I do want you to kind of backpedal a little bit and talk about, what you've been doing for lead gen, but also something you said earlier just really struck a chord with me, and you got rid of the idea of, oh, I have to generate income, and went back to, I have to get out there and help people. So I wonder if you can tie those two things together and talk about lead gen versus this mission of just helping people, and if that helped you with that lead gen. Because frankly, Mike, if you're an agent and you don't have enough business, there's really one activity that you should be doing every day, and that's some sort of lead generation. And it could be joining a club. And I know you're, it could be making phone calls, knocking on doors, but it's not like when we say lead gen, everyone's minds immediately go to, well, Mike, I don't like cold calling. I don't have the budget to send mailers. So you've taken a much different approach to that. You've included some of that, but talk about that, the lead gen, helping people, and how you've managed that.
Well, I'm glad you brought up the club because you told me to get off my rear end, sitting in the basement, and get out and get involved in the community. Uh, and I started to attend more church functions. Attended one last week at a different church. End up getting a contact with somebody I'm going to be doing a video with. He's running for township trustee. Last night I went to my second second fish club meeting, which I like to fish, so kind of a good club for me to join. And they were talking about how they weren't able to generate any new membership. I said, well, part of your problem, nobody knows about you. Here's what I do in my real estate business. I create video, and I'm willing to help you folks create videos. By the end of the meeting, I had 3 people approach me with some real estate needs, and this is only a room full of about 20 people. I wasn't getting any. I was getting very low return rate on making phone calls to FISBOs, expireds. I was averaging like maybe 3% response rate. And I started doing the voice text, presented it to elite team meeting. Mike challenged me to make it a video text. So I started doing video text, and within the last week, I've sent out, gosh, I can't remember the number, is well over 100 video texts.
Yeah, by the way, guys, if you're listening, watching, we hit that topic last week. So last week's training, Mike goes deep on that whole method of lead generation where he's literally producing mini 1 minute or less videos and sending those out to prospective clients and his sphere. That was a pretty cool idea. I didn't even think about sending those to your sphere, but how cool. So not only are you making contact, you're demonstrating your value proposition, which one of your value propositions is the fact that you use video to promote your listings and promote yourself. So pretty cool stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. And speaking of which, I had sent a video text to a friend of ours down in Tennessee. She contacted me this weekend, loved my video. She's selling her home for sale by owner down in Tennessee because she just bought another home, and asked me if I could produce a video for that home, which I did. She's wanting a country music theme type of thing. I produced a video, sent it out to her today. I put it on, and of course, I ended it with my logo and such. If you're leaving Ohio, contact me. There's a house down in Tennessee. And it's only a almost a $1.2 million home with a helicopter pad. And I mean, so video works. That's all I can say. Video works.
Yeah. So go back to the mentality, your mind shift about who I got to generate business, I got to generate income, because we each have our own why. I love the Simon Sinek book, Start with Why, but yours is interesting because you're as we discussed in the beginning, you have a pension, you're not living paycheck to paycheck. But your why is all about helping people. So give us just a quick blurb on that. Like how did that change because you were frustrated, Mike. I remember talking to you and there was a marked shift. Like this isn't the same guy that was looking forward to retiring and having this new career. And you were frustrated. And then all of a sudden there was this shift and you were back to the old Mike.
Well, again, I think what happened was I wasn't doing any business, and I was pressing hard to try to create business. And I shifted my focus from what I originally started doing real estate about is I need to start generating some money. And, I need to see a return for my efforts. And the more I focused on money, the harder the business became, the less business that was coming my way. And it's like an epiphany. I was like, wow, I lost focus of what I was really setting out to do when I got into real estate. And that's to actually help people. And actually, at least in my little corner of the world, change the mentality that many people have about real estate agents. I want to be more, this came from something you said, I think it's on one of your Tuesday trainings, was we shouldn't be a real estate agent. We need to be an advisor.
Yeah, that's actually from Tom Ferry. That was the last event. He said, change your title from
Yeah.
agent, salesperson to advisor.
So, and that's what I started doing is putting my focus on other individuals and how I can help them. If I'm working with a young family who's looking to buy a house they can't afford, I need to advise them correctly, not influence them to buy this house that they can't afford so I can get two sales, a buy and a sell. That's the wrong thing to do. That's not what my calling is. My calling is to redirect them into making a smart decision.
Yeah.
Now, I did. I lost a sale of their house. I lost the purchase of their house, but I also received a couple of referrals from them because now I'm slowly building a reputation that I could be trusted, that I'm not out to make a dollar. I'd rather turn away a sale and maintain my integrity and maintain my character. And a good way to judge yourself, and I've used this at the post office many times. When you're getting ready to make a decision, that decision is going to end up on the evening news tonight, and your family's watching that decision that you made. Will they be proud or will they be ashamed? And that's a great guideline.
Yeah.
And
Uh,
I'm trying to make my wife, my family proud by doing the right thing to other people. And as I've been doing this, my business has just kind of been flooding. I've gotten so many more leads, so many more contacts. Some of it's been from my video text, sure, but others just people contacting me, word of mouth.
yeah.
So
Well, Mike, even so, this we got to wrap it up here. And I'm, by the way, Scott, I'm gonna give you an opportunity here if you have like one gold nugget you want to give us here, because you know you've been doing this a couple of years, so I'm gonna open it up to you here in a second. But uh, to put my cherry on top of this, Mike, you and I have talked about for months and months and months now that the people we're talking to, our potential clients, they don't care about us. They care what's in it for me. Okay. And you shifted your focus from you to what can I give you? What kind of value can I bestow upon you? And now they care about that. You're talking their language. So changing that mindset from how can I get business to how can I help these people and give them what they need?
and
Scott,
you're absolutely right.
yeah. Scott, I'm sure you have one gold nugget to drop on us. And if not, no worries. We'll just wrap it up. You're still muted, Scott. So Scott's our broker friend down in San Antonio, Texas. He's been doing this couple years. What is it, 40 years or is it 50 now?
51.
51. Okay.
Franchisee for 46. Um,
Okay.
well, what Mike says really does hit home, where he was talking about the difficulty of the complacency sets in when you have a backup. There's the old story about, and I forget how the run up to it, but a war one time where the commander said, "Burn the boats."
Mm-hmm.
Uh, uh, you know, when you're part time, and Mike's doing a great job, so don't take this wrong, Mike. But when you're part time, it's just very, very. For one thing, you've got to be available to see your buyers. The tangible thing is you got to be available to be with your buyers and sellers. Uh, Unless they're good friends of yours or relatives, they don't, your schedule and theirs, if it doesn't mess with theirs, they'll go to somebody else. There's not that much loyalty a lot of times. But then there's just the psychological situation, it sets in of just when you have another income coming in, it's coming in, there's just a natural tendency with most people, not everybody, but with most people to you know,
Relax.
relax, not you become complacent, which
Yeah.
Mike called it. That's the word he used.
Yeah.
Uh, and and it even, it's a tough deal. Like I'm interviewing somebody Friday. She has two small children, and I mean, it takes a juggling act for moms and dads to work to be able to juggle around all that and get the job done. You know.
Yeah. I think, Scott, I think it's a good reminder for guys like you and me who are, in leadership positions, brokers, team leaders, et cetera, to really dig into that. I think it's so important to dig into that stuff with the people that we're coaching and training and so forth. So,
Yeah.
we're running a little long here, guys. Mike, I want to throw it
Okay.
back to you for any like one big final thought here, if you have one.
No, I just want to stress what you just said at the end that people don't care about us, nor should they. This is their biggest investment of their lives. Their focus should be on them. And we are getting paid to put our focus on them. And we have to bring something of value. It's just saying that I'm wonderful doesn't make me wonderful. I have to show, walk the walk type of thing. So
Yeah. Well, you are wonderful, Mike, in case no one has told you today.
Well,
Hey,
I try not
but
to expand on that too much because it's not fair to the rest.
yeah,
All right, guys,
yeah.
I'm gonna wrap this up. Everybody, thank you for being here. If you're watching this on YouTube, smash that subscribe button and check out our podcast if you just want to listen to the audio. It's called Free Beer and Real Estate, and we'll be back next week. I've got a teaser for you. I'm even going to tell you who it is. This girl, Jordan, is our teammate who has crushed it in her first year. 16 sales in just 9.5 months of her first year, and she's going to share her secrets and some of the mistakes she's made. So both sides of the coin there. But join us next week. Really great guest on the show.
Yeah,
Thanks for being
that's
here,
gonna be
everybody.
good.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Hey,
Mike and Mike.
hey, Mike. Good job, Mike. So, Mike. I'm so proud of you, Mike.